Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, Macmillan Publishers donate over $300,000 to the Ministry of Education. Two newcomers face the big leagues as they tackle the Calypso quarterfinals this weekend. And Dominica prepares for participation in this year's Windward Islands Cricket Tournament. The details coming up. First stop in the news, over $300,000 in books donated to the Ministry of Education. Andrea Louis reports.
The shipment of books came in as London-based Macmillan Publishers Limited's form of assistance to Dominica's education sector. Proprietor of Jay's Bookstore, John Lewis, who made the donation on behalf of Macmillan Publishers, said the company is committed to the development of education on island.
When I opened the invoice, I noted that the donation was 26,360 books. When I looked at the value, it was £16,818. But that was because the books were invoiced at less than 10 pence for each. If we use an average of £6 per book, then we end up with a value in excess of $315,000. If we use a value of £6 for each book, then that is $359,000. But Macmillan is not only in the Caribbean or in Dominica to, as it were, take. They're here to support the education system. And in everything that they do, in the text that they develop it with a means of supporting the education system.
Chief Education Officer Melina Fontaine says this donation of books is vital to the recovery of the education sector.
Not only were the buildings affected, but also the resources and materials. One of the most basic necessities for students in the classroom is books. Books serve as valuable resource for teaching and learning and are important for both teachers and students to make better sense of classroom instruction. Hurricane Maria ravaged many classrooms in Dominica, even those schools where the roof stayed on, and took with it thousands of the books used daily for classroom activities. Also, many students lost their books at home. Thankfully, since then, we in Dominica have been blessed with several well-meaning agencies, organizations, groups, and individuals who have assisted and are continuing to assist our schools to rebuild, renovate, and in this case, restock.
The donation from Macmillan Publishers was not the only contribution to the education sector. HarperCollins also gifted the Ministry of Education with books totaling over $20,000.
Collins also, although they do not have the presence that Macmillan has in Dominica, also felt an obligation to assist us in our times of needs. And so they have consented to donate some secondary resource material, CXC resource material, and also some integrated science at lower secondary, and the value roughly $23,000.
Assistant Chief Education Officer Dr. Jeffrey Blaise said the donation is timely as the education sector continues to recover from the impact of Hurricane Maria.
We are now at a point where we are still grappling with the challenges posed by Hurricane Maria. And it is important for us not to forget that as a system, we should not take anything for granted. We may not be in the most comfortable environment in many schools now, but we are sure that our students are very appreciative of the fact that the teachers are there for them and ensuring that they are learning. We are as I said, delighted today that we are receiving this contribution. At this time, within the system, we are particularly grateful for any contribution that can be offered to the Ministry of Education. And I'm sure that the donation of books and other material will go a very long way in ensuring that we achieve the type of quality learning that we really want to achieve as a ministry.
A total of 600 books were donated by HarperCollins Publishers, while over 26,000 books were donated by Macmillan Publishers. Reporting for Channel 5 News, I'm Andrea Louis.
Two newcomers to the quarterfinals round of the Calypso competition will find out if their songs are strong enough for the big leagues this weekend.
That's when the Dominica Calypso Association hosts the second leg of the National Calypso competition on Saturday. First-timer to the quarterfinals, Dorian the Mechanic Alexander will be seeking the judges' favor to move forward, as will newcomer Elisha the Asmis Charles. These two are joined by 16 others from the eliminations of December 2017, namely Chris B. Sylvester, Cecil Checker Burnett, Dwayne Shadowflow Robinson, Reginald Third Islander, Dave Sopus Pascal, Emmanuel Hakesy Salamat, Alicia Ducray, and Randolph Mask Eruption Joseph, as well as Mandisa Ducray, Eustace Shader Hodge, Daniel Enlightener Tuse, Narin Trendsetter Murphy, Shirley Lady S. Charles, Stanley Stowe, stage name Son of the Saint, Ian Gustav, who goes by Topper Top, and Henson Vincent Prosper, also known as the Inciter. These 18 from eliminations will be meeting up with some big guns in the quarterfinals round. Among them include former Calypso Monarchs, Tasha P. Peltier, Denison Dice Joseph, and Davidson the Observer Victor. Others to look out for are Jude Genius Dorset, Jude J.D. Deloney, and Stefan Subero, all of whom made it to the finals for the first time last year. The rest of the Calypsonians making up the 33 to perform on Saturday are Daryl de Bob Bob, Fael de Gila Lander, Abel Checo John Baptist, Derek Lugas Saintville, Jocelyn Jamobi Charles, Murphy Cy John Jules, Victor Comforter Beak, and Kerwin Mighty Omi Kazimi. And making a return to the Calypso arena this year is a three-time Calypso king, Andrew Scrunter Basil. A total of 33 will battle it out at the quarterfinals. 20 will make it through to the semi-finals, carded for 27th January at the Newtown Savannah. Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Andrea Louis.
And the Carnival Costume Band, which copped the Band of the Year award for 3 consecutive years, is looking forward to doing it 4 in a row, taking the only prize being awarded for Mass Dominic 2018. Events coordinator for Africulture Stilt Walkers, Kimon Elise, says the band had mixed feelings about putting a group on the road, as it had also suffered from last year's storm.
Well, we had mixed feelings towards that, since that our deputy leader stated that she would feel comfortable that we didn't actually perform because, seeing that the devastation that Dominica went through after Hurricane Maria, she felt that it wasn't a time for reveling, and it was more where we should be rebuilding Dominica. That whereas the other executive members felt that we should participate and we should it's our culture. So seeing that this year would have been reunion year, we should participate. However, it impacted us tremendously because where we usually practiced, they got damaged gardens. As for the stilts as well, they got water and a lot of debris and stuff like that. So we are currently in the testing phase, at least to make sure that if any repairs need to be made, they are made before the carnival, so we don't have any incidents on the road. We don't want any of that.
Despite the challenges, Africulture Stilt Walkers will be making an appearance on the road, though in smaller numbers.
To our theme, actually, we had to scale that down a lot because we had something big for this year, really, really big, and it was going to be phenomenal, yeah. So we actually had to scale that down a lot due to many factors, sponsorship, members, and everyone being displaced. So we felt that we'll do the opening. However, we would do it as like an old mass kind of sense. So we'll have traditional costumes like the Susol Sui, we have the Black Devils, we have the Senses, and for Carnival Tuesday, because I don't think we are participating on Monday, however, we'll do our past costumes. We may have at least about 30 walkers on the road, different age ranges. As for maybe saying we're going to take new members, it may be too soon to do that because you have to train them adequately enough. And to limit any incidents and stuff, we felt that we'll use our past walkers and our veteran walkers.
In spite of the smaller number of individuals on the road and scaled-down theme, the Africulture Stilt Walkers is still confident in taking the prize.
We're pretty confident that we can actually capture that prize. Because, I mean, since we're going to be doing the mix of costumes, we'll be in color, we'll have a lot of color to represent, we'll have different sections and creativity will be coming out from that. So pretty confident that we'll actually have that award.
In other news now, parliamentary representative for the Roseau Central constituency is skeptical about government's plans to build temporary housing for the residents of the Pound area, while new and improved housing is established in that part of the city. This project is all part of government's efforts to build more climate-resilient homes within the city. The Roseau Central MP says promises to build new housing in the Pound area are not new and go as far back as the Freedom Party under Dame Eugenia Charles.
Many people and many politicians have promised. From since Eugenia Charles' time, there's always an idea about doing development in the Pong area. You understand? It has its merits and it has its demerits. But what I'm saying is, that is just talk, it's just ideas. Because no land or we have not procured property in the area there. If we procure and we set up a committee and we discuss, the question is the housing in Pong the best approach, or should we put more government institution in that area and put the housing for the Pong people maybe in a different area, let's say Virgin Lane, High Street or something like that. Considering that you already have, for example, disaster impact in those areas there. And then you have, for example, you have the ministry, you have the financial center. Why can't you bring all government buildings in just that one area? So you have we call it in planning an institutional framework of planning. Rather than having things Vicky house there, financial center there, ministry there, government building right up High Street, inland revenue somewhere else. So you create a business district, you create a government district, and you create a residential district. That is how people do proper planning. So in my little silent moment for these past couple of months, these are the things I'm very disappointed about. So you must do self-introspection. You understand? But as I say, when I talk, I want to ensure that I'm focusing on Dominica's development.
In spite of the opposition criticism, a number of questions pertaining to the new housing development for the Pound area were answered during a press briefing back in December.
We therefore have come up with a plan to do 4 separate blocks. These blocks will contain, they are 3 stories, they are 84 2-bedroom units, 16 3-bedroom units, and 54 ground floor retail units. There will be parking within the central plaza area. Again, they are designed, and it's a difficult design to consider in terms of it has to be climate resilient, has to take into account what happened in Maria. So our preferred solution at this point in time is to go for a steel frame solution with a reinforced concrete outer shell, reinforced concrete roof with an architectural roof over the top to provide the correct architectural integrity for the area. They are very modern units. Internally, the 2 bedrooms are in excess of 700 square feet and the 3 bedrooms are in excess of 850 square feet. When you see the drawings for this, which will be released, you will see we have taken cognizance of the historical influences, so it will tie in with the existing Roseau architecture as well as using the best of modern architecture, and it will also provide a architecturally important building opposite the cricket stadium, which will be able to integrate the cricket stadium better into the city centre than it is presently doing. So again, as in Picard, it is our intent, it is our will that we design it as a climate resistance problem. So we will be using impact resistant windows. We are using reinforced concrete. All services in both developments are underground. From an architectural point of view, it's obviously more attractive. From a climatic point of view, if it's underground, it's less likely to get damage in high winds.
And the Ministry of Education has advised all students of the Dominica Grammar School to report to school on Tuesday. This includes students from Forms 1 and 2. The Chief Education Officer says measures were put in place at the end of last term to ensure that all students will be back in school this month. A decision was taken to begin rehabilitation of the Concord School building this month. That project is being undertaken by Digicel. Concord students are being accommodated at the W.S. Stevens School.
So the school is small enough and there is enough space at W.S. Stevens that they are sharing space with the students and going during the morning for their classes. And they will remain there until their school is rehabilitated. So they're being bused by government to the Concord, to the W.S. Stevens School. Then Warner was a shelter, and over the Christmas season, we were able to relocate the persons who were at the shelter. And so at the beginning of the school year, 3rd of January, they were able to bring in their students. Trafalgar, we still have one family that are in the school as a shelter, and we are hoping that by this weekend, everything would be set up so that they could be relocated to their new abode until their house is fixed. And so we are looking forward to Trafalgar students starting next week. Otherwise, we'll have to look for an alternative for them.
Rubis has been working on rehabilitating sections of the Goodwill Primary School, and a handing over ceremony is scheduled for next week. Students there resume classes on the 3rd of January.
And the good thing about Goodwill is that before Maria, the Goodwill Primary School was on a shift. And because of the work that was done in terms of rehabilitating, we are now able to bring all the students together at one time. So that is a big plus for us, because that was a concern for us over the years that the school had been on a shift. Then the SDA school had to relocate because they're working on the rehabilitation of their facility, of their property, and so they are now on a shift with the Goodwill Primary School. So again,